Okay, everybody. Shout out to the Tophiachu community. Shout out to Santoki. Shout out to Tophia Archive, who I'm going to be watching here. Shout out to Heinzbug, who's the first one who got me into this all. And shout out to, I think you say his name's Slokal, the Slugcat or something like that. I forget. He's answered some of my comments sometimes. It seems like a cool dude. Yeah, they're all Tophia commentators, and every time I watch with them, or watch the archives like this, I have so many comments myself to make that it just like, not this video, but the one before this, I left a comment on uh Tophia archive channel saying I got 2 minutes into the video and it was one of the funniest Tophia videos I've seen in a long time, to the point where I paused it and I had planned on making that my first video. I was laughing so hard, but I had a bunch of finals and stuff this week and I work a full-time job. But I just finished all of my finals except for one, which I can't even do until Tuesday in person anyway, and I'm pretty much studied up for it. So I decided to finally do a video, and I saw that Tophia Archive had released a new video. So I'm going to do this on her new video. Now, the downside to this is this video is a lot longer than the previous one, which the original one I wanted to use, which was about 20 minutes. So I think I'm going to, which I do sometimes, but sometimes I just forget to do it. But I think, which you guys can see now, and hopefully you guys can't see too much. I'm trying to see, because I have streamed before. I used to stream like games and stuff, or record them at least for certain things. And if you look at my channel, I do Soprano clips and Soprano scenes. I try and find ones that aren't uploaded. That's why I don't have like a million uploads like Borgo and people like them, because they beat me to it. It doesn't make sense to do it again. But with Tophia, everyone's commentary is going to be different, right? I mean, there's going to be some overlap because obviously us sane people think similar things compared to Tophia, but she doesn't. So that's what makes it so entertaining, and that's what makes me able to comment on it as well. And I'm hoping some of the other people watch this commentary I'll do and enjoy it. I'm going to speed up her time just so that we don't have to watch 44 minutes of Tophia. So I'm going to crank this playback to, I'll try like 1.3. So that should reduce it to about a little bit less, around 30 minutes, give or take. I'm not doing it. That's me estimating, because yeah. So anyway, I'm just gonna pause for a second because I gotta crash. Something else crashed. I'm gonna deal with that real quick. So if it sounds like there's any jump cuts or anything in it, it's just because I had to pause. So for whatever reason. So hang on a second. Oh, and also, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna be smoking a little bit while I do this because she's so funny and it makes it so much more funny and more enjoyable. Especially the the boring parts where she's just sitting chewing on food or whatever. I'm not really a video editor or anything. I don't really have the same setup as any of those streamers I mentioned earlier. I don't really put a lot of work into these videos and stuff. So I'll probably have all her copyrighted music in this one, meaning I won't be able to make any money off of it. And I'm also using Tophia Archives footage, so unless I spoke to them, I believe I actually don't know if it's a male or a female with them. I can't remember. But I wouldn't even really feel comfortable turning on monetization on this because it's pretty much all their content. I know me transforming it with commentary would make it fair use, but I would definitely want to talk to them about doing something like that first. Anyway, that's unrelated. Give me a second here to roll something up, and then we will start this video and my first Tophia commentary. And again, shout out to Vocal, the Slugcat, Santoki, Tophia Archives, Heinzbug, and there's someone else I'm forgetting right now. I really apologize to that person, but you guys are great. You guys are what inspired me to do this, and I love watching your channels. Tophia, in my opinion, is the last interesting lolcow. people like DSP, Wings, even Christian, like they're boring now. All they do is beg, or in Christian's case, rant about insane, like how they're like, Jesus Christ reincarnated. But Tophia is very interesting because she's always saying and doing something different. Okay, it's not like the same thing where she's like begging every single day. I mean, she does do that, but she does it in different, really unique ways every time, where it's almost like it's just bizarre rambling. I'll get into more of that later. Sorry, like this intro's like almost gonna be as long as a video now. I feel bad. I need to just start getting into the commentary here. So give me a second and we'll start it up and start talking about this video, which I have not watched yet. This will be a live reaction. So hoping some of you guys watch it. I know this beginning is a little bit long. I probably should have trimmed this or like wrote a script for it. But this is my first time doing it, so cut me a little bit of slack here. And we're gonna start this up in a second. So, okay, I had a nice little, little puff there, and pausing that. I'm ready to get into this. I'm excited.
That's a good one. I never thought of going to get a job. I don't know. I guess I don't really have a job. That's why I'm not getting paid from Temu. I can't do OF because I don't have a place to do OF. But their intent was to kill me.
Subscribe if you enjoy, please.
Okay, we're off to a wild start, huh?
My tripod is broken. So now it's... Oh, no, that's not what we want. I need to, like... Hey.
Wild.
And then when it's like that, it's not being charged. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to, like, fix this, and then it's really close. Why does it only work? I mean, see, it's not aimed towards me.
Yeah, Tophia, why bother setting up the camera correctly before the stream when you can do it struggle with it during it?
I don't have a Cash App. I have PayPal. My PayPal me is linked in my Beacons link because they took my Cash App away. They said some investment thing, and they said that was not allowed.
Cash App away?
I don't have an investment account, so.
Okay, I'm not someone that uses Cash App or like these newer money transfer apps because I think maybe it's changed now, but like Cash App and WhatsApp and them stuff, like people would deposit money into it, and that stuff wasn't, maybe it is now, but it wasn't FDIC insured. So like you're putting your money into like this risky platform, which if it went under, all your money was gone. But I mean, isn't Cash App like, don't they let anyone with a pulse on there? Like, how do you get banned from Cash App? You must have been doing some scams, okay? Or some sketchy stuff with like using their credit and stuff. And I can speak from experience on that because I'm in recovery. And years ago, I'm talking like back in like around 2010, 2012, PayPal Credit came out where they gave up to a certain amount of credit, basically a credit card, but you could use it online, and but you couldn't get cash out of it. So I actually figured a way out how to get cash out of it though, which was so they would give you the credit and let you spend it on things, but they would let you also send the credit to a person. So you could take PayPal credit if I had $300 and I could send it to an individual as well. At least you could at the time. I'm sure this is not the case anymore. But so I figured out a way to do that because, I was trying to figure out any way to get money. I worked jobs when I did this. I wasn't burglarizing and stuff like that. I always had a job. But you're still looking for extra money, and, like taking out cash advances with a credit card, doing stuff like this, just par for the course when you're doing that. It's similar to like what Tophia gets into, but for different reasons, which we'll get into later. Again, there's wild parallels, but the reasons for them are so drastically different. Like her choosing this versus, it's nuts. But anyway, I figured out a way you could send it to someone, and since you could send it to an individual, I would send it to someone I would know. It would show up in their account as withdrawable cash, and then they would take the cash out for me from PayPal credit. So for WhatsApp, I feel like you get banned from, and that didn't even get me banned from PayPal. Okay, I just had to pay back the credit. I don't even know if I ever did. It might have went to collections. This was again like over. This was maybe 15 years ago, so I don't remember all the details, but I feel like to get kicked off WhatsApp or Cash App, whatever she said, you probably were doing some really sketchy stuff because, again, I feel like anyone with a pulse can sign up for a Cash App and start sending money because they don't really do KYC very well, as far as I'm aware. I don't know. Maybe it's different in the States. I don't know enough about it. But to get banned on there is crazy, in my opinion. Like, getting banned. And it's the fact that she's been banned on multiple sites like this. You know, it's not. She's not only banned on Cash App. She's banned on all these other apps because of, like, how do you get banned on all these apps for these financial reasons? Like, the only answer is that you're scamming, or, like, you're withdrawing money before it fully clears, then you're not paying it back when you owe it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to move on because, again, this is a long video. But, again, there's just so much to say with Tophia. Like, it's just so... She's like the gift that keeps on giving in the lolcow community compared to the rest of them. She's the gift that keeps on giving. And it's amazing. So, anyway.
I really don't. Are you outside living? If I was living outside, then you would know.
Oh, and she forgot to say this, but she said, I don't have a brokerage account. Yeah, Tophia, none of us thought you had a brokerage account. Don't worry about that. We weren't confused on that.
Literally saying do not send money is weird. So I'm just trying to, the place that I'm at, really, to be honest with you, you don't have to send money if you don't want to. That's a...
Okay, you don't have to send money if you don't want to. And I just want to interject quickly with the shelter. I've said this in comments on other channels, but because I was never ended up in shelter, fortunately. But a lot of people I knew and used with did. So I spent a good amount of time around these places, and I'm somewhat familiar with some of what goes on there. You know, and I wasn't saying overnight or anything, but, you know, I'd be out front seeing other people or once or twice inside. So when we get to those points, I have some familiarity with these places, the types of people that are there, and trust me, none of them want Tophia there. Well, none of them. So,
guys, don't either. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm very respectful, but to make jokes like that is not okay. Seriously, do not joke. The truck succeeds today, but there probably isn't really good truck. I don't know. That's kind of weird. I need to get my own place and get out of where I'm at because I can't really talk about things. But my mom's doing all right. We're just trying to get a place. I don't know. She had a care coordinator, and I guess her care coordinator told her that she couldn't really help her. And I'm like, well, what does she really help with? Because that was a waste of time to go over there and tell her that she couldn't help her with anything. Dead ends everywhere, and I'm just getting frustrated.
Yeah, Tophia, you're not doing anything else, and neither are you, so it's not really a waste of your time. You need to be doing something with your time for it to be wasted. If you're doing nothing, then you're not wasting your time by doing something. In fact, you're doing something instead of wasting it. And you know, what did she just say?
One place. I'm like, well, what does she really help with? Because that was a waste of time to go over there and tell her that she couldn't help her with anything. Dead ends everywhere, and I'm just getting frustrated.
Dead ends everywhere. Yeah, Tophia, because all you do is like submit a form and say, oh, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm applying for housing. I'm doing all this stuff for housing. Tophia, you sent in a form. You maybe send in piece of paper once every now and then showing that you're doing whatever. A long time ago, long time ago, I had to get on food stamps. Well, actually not. Well, I don't know what you consider a long time ago, but I've had to be on food stamps before when, you know, I was working a crap job at a deli when I was younger, and you know, they want proof that you're working, proof that you're trying. If you're not working full time, they want, you know, either reasons why or, you know, evidence that you are trying to work full time. And to get unemployment and, you know, even stronger benefits than that, at least here, you had to, you know, for example, if you weren't working at all, you actually had to prove, you know, like a certain amount of hours you spent each week that you were looking for work. I think it was usually equal to how many, like 40 hours a week you had to be looking for a job. And if you weren't, you know, they weren't going to give you the same benefits. And of course, Tophia does nothing. So she's wondering why it's moving so slowly. But that's because a lot, at least in my experience, a lot of these things only will move at all if you're showing them you're doing like these bare minimums. Like, because, you know, if you're willing to search for a job 40 hours a week, it means that you're willing to work a job 40 hours a week. But if you're not willing to do that, it's sort of a bad indicator, you know? I mean, okay, searching for a job 40 hours a week, a little extreme today because of how fast job applications go and AI rejecting them. I'm getting off topic, though. Let's go back to Tophia. We're only 2 minutes in. There's just already so much to say about, like, what she said in 2 minutes is so crazy.
One place, and I'm like high-key, low-key depressed and upset. So things are going on, and I don't know. It's just frustrating. Do you visit her? No. Hold on, let me fix this. Actually, what's funny is that someone was like, you could go to these free events.
Oh, there we go. All of a sudden, her audio got a lot better. I thought it was me. I kept making mine louder.
You can't go see your mom. First of all, the free events are not outside of Albuquerque. So any free event I go to, I have transportation because it's a free bus. And the bus does not go all the way to where my mom's at. Some people literally just lack common sense. It's outside of Albuquerque. The only way to get there is no way back because there is not a bus that brings you back. It's not a public bus. It's a school bus that takes people out there. And then once you go there, that means you're going to stay there and you're not coming back. So I cannot take the school bus there and then have no way back.
You couldn't find, a couple bucks, like, to take an Uber or something back? Like, just once, like, maybe visit her, like, once every 2 months or something, I'll get into some of this later, or maybe not, but usually 2 to 3 months of the year I'm out of the country, not with my family and stuff, so, yeah, I don't know, it's just, like, you can't figure something out. You can't get a ride back with someone. You can't find a carpool. I don't know what it's like nowadays. They used to have for me, like on the roads near me, when they added carpool lanes, they put up like giant billboards saying, like go to this website or call this number to try and find people to carpool with. So, try and encourage less driving to meet better climate goals and stuff like that. So you can't find a carpool. You can't find an Uber. It like clearly you just said yourself that you can get there. So, but that getting back is a difficulty. And I've had that problem too before, when I've been taking a bus somewhere that I shouldn't be at an hour that I shouldn't be to get something that I shouldn't have been getting. And the bus doesn't run the other way back as late as it goes the long way. That frequently happens. People who don't take the bus don't realize that. Generally, the bus will run, more times going in one direction than the other, especially as it gets later and later at night. Eventually, usually you'll have a bus route where it might run 2 more times going south, but only 1 more time going north. And not just because it's like north and south, it's because like they add an extra route because that's where the majority of the commuters are going in that direction versus the morning where they might add another route differently. Anyway, I'm getting off topic again with Tophia. It's so easy because she like doesn't understand anything and it's just so weird. Like she's admitting that the bus is free too where she lives, by the way. So it's even better than where I was, where you had to pay $275 and that was only got you 1 transfer too. So if it took you 3 or 4 buses to get somewhere, that was, double that. So anyway, let's keep going.
That just doesn't make sense. So for me, I'm trying to get whatever I need to get the income so I can at least rent us a place because, ooh, is that an actual old hearse? Somebody's driving an old hearse. That's cool. When I saw Celestina bought a hearse, Celestina just for people when she bought that hearse,
Tophia has the attention span of not even a toddler, of like a dog. Like looking at, like she saw a car, all of a sudden her head turned, ooh, oh my god, an old hearse. All of a sudden I know someone that bought this old hearse, and it was like she just goes off in this tangential thinking, which I believe is some, and with her pressured speech, I believe, I don't know, I'm not a psychologist, so never mind. I'm not gonna say what I'm thinking, but look up pressured speech and delusional thinking and tangential ranting and stuff like that, and what those might be symptoms of is all I'll say. And her extreme delusions, like her extreme delusional thinking.
I don't know why. I thought it was cool. I don't know. I think hearses are cool. Yes, I am, but I can't really talk about that, so. You're a virgin. I think I've seen those at the car meets. That sounds pretty cool. That was at Hearst. Anyways, I have a lot going on personally, and to be honest with you, there's some stuff going on, and I just need a new change of environment. So I need to just really get me and my mom a place because it's not.
She has a lot going on, but she needs a change of environment on top of that.
Go rent a place. There's some stuff going on, but I need to work on getting a car too. So you know what, Megamind? Maybe
she also needs a car too. You guys,
I don't know
she's been talking about this all the time. This car, like, why do you need a car? I don't understand. Like, you don't drive. You don't have a license. I don't think you have the capability to teach yourself to drive enough to pass the test. I think you could teach yourself enough to drive like the average American who can't drive and who probably couldn't pass a driving test, if you offer them another one, after their original one they took when they were a child, that most people would fail. I think most drivers, and I live in the New York area, they're like the worst drivers in the world here. People say other states are bad. I could not agree any. Like New York, it's so bad. People here are so scary driving. I've seen crazy stuff here, especially since COVID. It's wild, drivers all over the place. But you can't drive, Tophia. So I keep wondering why she wants this car. And my only thinking is that she will use it for storage, not have to pay for the storage fee anymore, and then just pay for the car fee, and she'll have a car and storage, and she'll be like, oh, like a car hoarder or something, and live out of the car and stuff, and like use it for AC and use it for her storage. So she'll condense in her mind, she'll condense all of her bills and save money by just having a car. She wants to pay that other bill, but Tophia is so financially illiterate. I don't even need to delve into it too much. So
a job, because that's the dumbest thing to suggest to someone who's already thought that. That's probably people's first choice, is not thinking to go get a job. I don't know what is going on with people. To me, it's so crazy to suggest something that somebody's probably already thought of. That's a good one. I never thought of going to get a job. I don't know. I guess I don't really have a job. That's why I'm not getting paid from Temu. I guess that's just fake monopoly money, I guess.
Well, haven't you recently been complaining about how they haven't been paying you out? So it essentially is monopoly money, isn't it? I mean, like, again, like a job means they pay you, but if they're not paying you, can you still call it a job? It's more volunteer work at that point, Tophia.
I don't know. That's crazy. Why would I go get a job so the people at the job could get harassed and then I get fired?
See, oh my god,
that does not make sense.
I hate this. I hate this excuse that she uses and all the other lolcows use. And even if it's true, even if what she just said is true and they would harass the job and she'd lose it, she's not even trying. Like, she's not even getting to the point where she could go there and be like, look, people don't like me. They don't want me to better my life. Like, they're going to try and say stuff about me to get me fired. And, I mean, usually it's people just need to link videos to her of what she has said for them to not want to be there. And she might be right about that. But this is such an assumption to make. Like, you're making that assumption without even trying, which is the annoying part. She just assumes that's going to happen no matter what. Even if instead of like doing what she does now, if she actually got a job and then just signed off of social media for a couple months, and then she could come back, no one would have any idea about her job. She'd have been in it long enough for where she's past training, where she's past, the point where like it's a novelty or anything, where she passed. I mean, she'd probably start ranting and talking about it all the time and bragging about it like she's the best person in the world. But she just makes this assumption that if she gets a job, she will instantly lose it because of trolls. So therefore, why bother? It's just backwards thinking, or not. It's not the right way to approach it. You're making an assumption. You're basing your actions off a conclusion that hasn't happened yet. Is, I guess, the best way to phrase that.
Hello?
God damn, we're
you
only
think
5
getting a
minutes
job is
in,
going to stop
and
people
this
from
video is
harassing you?
probably
No.
already
And if you
so
say that,
long.
you're lying.
I'm gonna have to cut
You
this.
just want a
at a
reason
certain
so that way
point
when I
at
get
the
a job,
end
you can
of
say
one
I
of
got
these.
fired for bad hygiene, and then that's not the case. I didn't get fired for bad hygiene. I got fired for something else, but you don't make any excuse in the book saying it's your fault because of your digital footprint online. No, I'm not a dummy. I'm just not going to let people get the upper hand anymore, and I'm tired of it. Telling someone in this economy to go work for pennies is crazy. I'm not going.
Okay, well, Tophia, I actually don't make that much money. I'm actually a civil servant. I don't want to like reveal exactly where I work, but I work for a school, and I'm not a teacher. I'm support staff. My background's IT. I do a couple different things at the school. I'm actually not. Anyway, I don't want to. I'm not doing IT there, but doing some periphery stuff. Anyway, I don't want to get into too much of what I'm doing, but my pay is horrible. Okay, like my take home is trash. Because I'm a civil servant who works at school. Now I do get very good benefits in my opinion, which helps to make up for that a lot, and I get lots of time off as a result of working at a school. But I make very little take home. Like my take home is not even $3,000 a month, I don't think. And she's acting and like, yeah, it sucks living off that, and especially the situation with my spouse who is not even in this country right now. Thanks a lot to she always rants about Donald Trump. Yeah, try having Donald Trump directly impact your ability to live with your spouse, and then get back to me, Tophia. But yeah, she's just like she. Like, what are you talking about? Like, work for pennies. Like, even the amount of money I make, like, I'm able to save up. If you don't blow all of it on plastic crap like Tophia does, the second she gets $1, she buys some sort of toy or something, which is worthless and ends up in a landfill within 2 weeks. If you saved your money from these jobs, she thinks like at a minimum wage job, she wouldn't make that much money, and you wouldn't, but you'd make so much more than you are now. I mean, technically, if you're making zero now, you'd make even infinite. You can't even multiply zero by infinity and get a number, so like you're technically making infinitely zero money at your current job. So yeah, I don't know, I'm sorry I keep stopping and pausing. I'm not sure if I can talk over her, like how well I go, and speeding her up this much, it's like hard to not have to stop and talk about it. But yeah, this chick's crazy, man. She's out of her mind.
To go work for little to no money, because that
little to no money, you make little to no money. In fact, you make less than little to no money. Right now, you make no money. And even she bragged about that $3,000 over how many months and stuff. Again, I make just under that in 1 month. And that doesn't count my other benefits, like my health care, which is insanely good. The money, that is a big bonus. Like, she's discounting all these other things that a job might provide for her. And again, my job's a basic civil service job, provides all this, and a pension too that I'm vested in after 5 years. And she thinks like none of this matters because like working a regular job like me, only making thousands a year instead of millions or billions. To her, it seems like it's like all or nothing. Like, she'll either be a social media world traveling influencer who makes millions and millions of dollars, or she's homeless in a shelter. I mean, it seems like those are the only two options in her mind, and clearly she's proven time and time again she'd rather be homeless and live in a shelter than get a job. So
what? You want me to go work for nothing? Not even make a living wage? And I'm standing 8 hours a day. I would rather make my money and help other people out and help the people that are most important to me and enjoy life. And
how are you helping anyone out? You're not making any money to help.
And then when I don't have to be online, do you want to know what'll be the best thing? Is getting rid of social media so I can have my freedom. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be stuck.
Okay, so Tophia knows exactly what she needs to do. Okay.
Social media. I can't go anywhere without someone lifting up a phone, a camera trying to record me. I want to lead a private life and just enjoy it with the people I really care about and fix things and work on things and have my own business. That's that. You know what I mean? I just don't want. I want to have a stable income. I just don't. I saw commissions is all right because my dad's done commission jobs, but I really don't like commission jobs. His commissions is commissions based on what you sell. I'm not that good of a seller. My dad is though. He's good at those commission jobs.
Tophia just admitted she's not that good of a seller, like her dad is, saying her dad's good at social media jobs because he's a good seller. So if you're not a good seller and that's what you need to be good at social media jobs, why do you think that it's a job for you?
Sorry, I just being old cars because it's Friday. Friday is the cruise date and they all go to Sonic. I don't know if Sonic still, if they all go, the people care about you, then it's your elderly mother you don't care for. If I said I'm trying to get a place for me and my mom, does that state that I don't care about my mother? In what world do you think I don't care about my mother? Hello?
In the world where you never go visit her and you say stuff like, "Shut up, you stupid bitch," which is one of the craziest clips I've ever heard in my life of someone talking to their parent. But
are you okay? Somebody needs to get whacked upside the head because some of y'all really need to get knocked some sense. Because
some people really do get to.
When I'm talking about people, I'm including my mother. I don't have to say "and my mom." That should be a given. Hello. I don't get it. What is crazy to me is that people be sitting here and be defending a large content creator that told me that they was going to beat me so badly that I needed a caregiver. Imagine if I said that to someone, I would be canceled.
You say stuff like that all the time. You talk about like riding up on people and ops and like how, oh well, I'm not friends with members of the cartel, but I'm friends with friends of them. Like, come on, Tophia, you're threatening people all the time. Shut up.
But you are literally sitting here defending a woman who said that they would beat me so badly that I would need a caregiver.
Yeah.
What in the world?
So what?
I cannot fathom. I cannot imagine telling someone, I'm going to beat you so badly, you need a caregiver.
And you do it all the time.
What concerts have I been to? I haven't been to any concerts. The last concert I went to was the Jonas Brothers, which was last year. And how long ago was that? Literally sit here and be like, well, she's been to concerts. That was last year, and that was before October, I believe. And actually,
yeah, that's
I
the last
haven't been
time
to
you had
any
money
concerts.
to do it. Otherwise, you would have been to concerts instead.
The place where my mom at is outside of Albuquerque. I had to talk to a supervisor because I got suspended. They're not going to let me on property. My mom cannot leave property because she already struggles enough as it is to get around. Then
yeah, as I said earlier, getting suspended at one of these
to get her back to get a bus, and by the time I take her all the way to where she needs to go to get the bus back to get a bed, then I'm going to miss my bus and not having transportation back home. So
rarely we get put
you want me to sleep under a bridge? That does not make sense. And then my mom's going to be worried because I had to sleep under a bridge, and I shouldn't have to explain anything because even when I explain something, people be like, well, that's an excuse. It may be an excuse to you, but with limited transportation, I don't know what to tell you. Gas prices is high as heck. Even for me to get a car, I don't think I would barely be able to afford to put gas in my gas tank. These things.
Why are you talking about getting a car all the time if you couldn't even put gas in the
time?
Tophia, if you couldn't even put gas in the gas tank, why is it like every stream and everything for the past couple of weeks you just talk about getting a car? You just talk. I just paused the video. See, this is why there's so much to say about Tophia. Because I just paused the video not that long ago to talk about, like, why would she want to get a car? And my only logic was thinking that she would use it as storage and a place to sleep. But now she's straight up admitting, like, she wouldn't even be able to afford to put a fucking tank of gas in the car. So how are you going to afford anything else with the car, Tophia? Like, let's just say she got, let's just say she was able to get a car, right? Like, and let's just say it's fully paid off, right? Like, how are you going to pay for gasoline? You just said you wouldn't be able to. How are you going to pay for the yearly inspection? How are you going to pay for any time it needs maintenance? I'm about to have to put a new battery in my car before I go away for the summer. It's going to cost me just under $300. How are you going to put a new battery in the car when it needs it? How are you going to get an oil change done once a year when you need to? I mean, Tophia wouldn't get it done once a year. She'd be the person that gets an oil change every 20,000 miles. So what am I even talking about? She would have no idea about any of this. But, like, how are you going to pay any of this stuff? And again, that's assuming she was given a car. Like, we're not even talking about how the heck she's going to pay for the car itself. But, like, if you can't even pay for a tank of gas, how do you think you're going to afford a car? And why would you even want to then? What are you going to do with it? If you can't put a tank of gas in it, you can't. Oh, and then insurance too. Like, Tophia, I don't know about New Mexico. I don't know if you're required to have insurance there or not. But here in New York, insurance is quite expensive. And you legally have to have collision insurance, at least to cover the other vehicle. They don't really care if you cover your own vehicle, but you have to be able to cover the other person's. So I don't know about New Mexico if it requires insurance or not, but if you wouldn't be able to pay for insurance and gas, Tophia, what good is this car to you? Like, if it gets into an accident, it's totaled, and then you're in debt for the other person's car. So you would owe whatever's left on your car plus whatever the other person's car is worth if you don't have insurance. If you do, you'd still be out all the money on your car because you would pay for the most basic liability insurance possible. And I just don't. And, like, how would you even make the regular monthly? I just don't. Yeah. Anyway, let's keep going.
I just want to hang out with people, and I'm having a hard time, and there's things going on, and I'm depressed. But God forbid,
always having a hard
I
time.
barely even had money. I have a phone bill that I had to pay, but I got from
She's always
Facebook.
having a hard time
Facebook paid me $11.28 on top of what I had for my phone bill. So I went and got me the 2 cheeseburger meal because I was hungry, and it was only $8. But it's so crazy. And then you sit here.
Only $8. So she talks about this all the time, like, oh, well, like, that's not enough money to do anything with anyway. Over the past couple of years, again, I was an addict, okay? I blew every dollar I had and then some on dope and stuff like that. So I know what it's like to be dirt poor. I luckily wasn't homeless. I had family that loves me and were there for me, but I was broker than you could imagine. When you look in your bank account and you see such a low amount that you can't even withdraw anything, it's pretty depressing. So I don't know how she's not depressed by that all the time, and I know what it's like to be there. So
here and tell me to go work for a job where I'm going to make I want to make.
But I worked a job still to make money to go pay for that stuff. So again, like even then I was working. That's why it's so baffling.
I want to be able to support all my family, to be able to help
You need a job
my
to
family
do
pay
that,
off things
Tophia.
that they're struggling to pay, to help my mom get a place to live,
need
to
a
help
job.
my friends and other people.
You
That's
don't
really
have any of them, but you
know what
need
I
a
mean?
job to do that.
You know what I mean? I don't
Even
want
if
to
it's
work
a
for
self-employed
someone to
job,
make them
like you
money
keep
anymore.
claiming you want it, but
These corporations do not care.
earlier yourself, you said you're not getting paid by these social media platforms. So just by the nature of the definition of a job, which is where you're compensated for it, you're essentially volunteering your time on these platforms. And on these platforms, since the user is the product, you're actually like just volunteering TikTok and Facebook and all these platforms. You're feeding them data, so you're actually working for them for free if you think about it.
Care about you. I don't know why you want to waste your time standing 8 hours a day to not even make a living wage.
It's not. You don't understand why people. This is why she's so fun and why she's so crazy. You don't understand why people would want to stand around for 8 hours to get paid. Like, of course, nobody wants to just stand there. My least favorite job ever was working at a pet store, and I did both cashiering and stock work there. It was my least favorite job ever, but I still worked there for a year. Couldn't have hated a job more. I had the worst boss I've ever had in my life. And I had a job before this where it turned out our employers were stealing from us, and there was a class action lawsuit against them. And I liked working for them more. So it's like you can't understand why someone would work a job. Hey, Tophia, what if you had a kid? Would you still be in the same spot, like saying that you don't need a job and that, like, I mean, well, Tophia wouldn't take care of her kid, but who would? Marie wouldn't. The state would take care of it. What am I talking about? Anyway, sorry if I'm muttering, if my voice isn't clear, especially when I talk over her. That's why I keep pausing, because I'm worried when I talk over her, it won't be heard, and I have her sped up, but God, my video is already probably so long. I really want to get to the end of this, and then I'll maybe cut it there and continue later, because this is a long 44 minutes with me pausing is a lot. So
I would not be able to even afford car insurance
she fun. Okay, I said it before, and now she's talking about it. So she knows it. So what are you talking about?
let alone a car. And then to go stand for 8 hours and get a bus every day, you like public transportation.
Oh wait, you're talking about someone else?
No, thank you. I would rather make money and live financially stable to the point where I don't have to worry. I can get a car.
Okay, but Tophia, what is your plan to do that? You keep saying that you would rather be financially stable and not have to work for pennies. Even though, by the way, me working for my pennies, I've built up a huge bedrock of financial stability in several years. I have quite a large emergency savings that I literally only touch in an emergency, and I have a decent amount of investments. And when I say decent, both of these things are 5 figures. So, I'm not super rich, but from a poor, lowly civil servant job where I don't even make $3,000 a month. I've done this in 3 years. Still feel like it's just about saving and discipline and not buying everything you see. And it's just, I don't know. I did budget for a while too, but I mean, it was always the same every month. So I kind of got bored of tracking it. But yeah, I mean, like that $8 from earlier, this money she's talking about now, all of this stuff adds up. It does add up. It really does. And especially when you have so little, that little bit means so much. Like when I would be so dead broke from using, and I would have, just like $2 to get a couple loose cigarettes at the store, it meant so much to me. And I was so thankful and so grateful to have that. And it was just like, I couldn't have been more grateful. It's like I got my fix and I still can get a cigarette. Thank you, God. But she's like the least grateful person ever, which is wild considering the position she's in.
Or I can pay my gas. I can do this. Some people and there's a lot of people with cash apps in their bio because they can't even afford nothing. They can't even get a job. My brother was struggling to get a job. And here it is true. Someone said that it's very
had a
here,
job though, and
that if you know people, then you can get a job. Say, you can't even get a job at McDonald's. Some people can't even get a job at McDonald's. McDonald's does not hire anybody that just walks to the door and says, we're going to hire you. That's not how it works.
What does
you
this
can't
have to do with
not get a job at
anything,
McDonald's,
Tophia?
or it doesn't even matter. Me aside, take me out of the job, right? If you're gonna say, oh, because of your actions and all that, right? Somebody else can get denied McDonald's.
Yeah, of course. Anyone can get denied at any job, anytime they can also get accepted at any job.
I don't have privacy, and plus I don't want to do that.
Even Will Smith Pursuit of Happiness showed up at an interview cover. I mean, and it's based on a true story. I don't know if that's true or not, but I know it's based on a true story of a guy who was homeless. It's like, Tophia, you say that this stuff's impossible. This guy dragged himself up from by his bootstraps, you know? That's a real life example of a guy. And he had a kid that he was taking care of. So, like, what are you talking about? Like, anyone can get any job at any time, and anyone can, like, anything's possible in terms of that, because it's usually more about who you know than what you know. But sometimes it can be just about what you know, or what you're able to demonstrate your qualities are in an interview. And if those are qualities that align with the job, whether it's fast food or or being a stockbroker, like in Pursuit of Happiness, you know, when they see those qualities, they will want you there. It's not just about, like, it's about more. She just doesn't understand it. I don't know why.
You know what's going to happen. I'm not going to end up like a Shardy Bay where people leaked my stuff from OF because they took her stuff from OF and they put it on the internet like they did.
Sophia's always talking about how I can't do OF, I can't do OF. Now she's saying I won't be like her, who all her OF stuff gets leaked. The reason she's talking about that all the time is because she would absolutely 100% do it, because it's easy money. It's social media money where she doesn't have to have a job. She doesn't have to, you know, have a boss, rather, even though OF would be her boss and all her patrons and stuff. So she's thinking about it all the time. She wishes she actually could do it, in my opinion. She just can't because of where she's living. So,
Leslie, I don't want, and it's okay if people are comfortable posting that of themselves.
Like, she's like,
for me, okay, I'm not comfortable sharing myself.
She says she's not comfortable about it. I would bet $1 million that if she was somewhere that she could do it at this point, she would, because she's so desperate for money at this point. Like, the fact that she keeps bringing it up over and over and over again lately just means it's probably always on her mind. I don't know, maybe she's just watching those Asians on there and that's why it's always on her mind. But I think it's always on her mind for another reason, because she knows she needs cash coming in somehow, and she knows that that's something that you can do to bring in cash that, you know, is another social media thing where you don't have a boss, you're not making pennies for some billionaire, you know, even though you are, but whatever.
Like that, you gotta be careful. I'm not comfortable, and I'm not bashing anyone who does it, but I know my stuff would get leaked everywhere. That wouldn't stay on.
I know she did before.
It's against the law to leak someone's OS stuff. Shardy Bay is, well, technically, okay, to me, spending money frivolously, but you have to understand, she's doing these club events. She's hosting club events and getting paid. What? Mind you, that's like thousands of dollars. And mind you, she's slowly killing herself doing these club events. She's supposed to stop drinking because of her health problems. She's going to these events, getting blacked out drunk, and then harming her health for that. And it doesn't even matter. She blew money like nobody's business. $10,000 a month for rent is outrageous. You could have put that money towards a house. You could have bought a house, moved out of LA. LA is expensive. California is very expensive.
Yeah, but if you're like someone that is making money as an influencer in LA, if you move out of LA, you lose your job. Like, Tophia, as someone who claims to be an influencer, how do you not realize that if you're like an influencer in a certain city, you can't just move to the boondocks and buy a cheaper house? Like, what? And, you know, sometimes I know Vocal Slughead's talked about this before, but sometimes rich people rent things only because then they can claim that they own less assets on their taxes, and then depending on how they're compensated through their job, like stock options and stuff like that, they can end up paying no taxes. That's getting into a totally different topic. I don't know how familiar he is with that stuff. It sounds like he either is fairly financially literate or it might even have a background in that, but he's pointed that out before too. So
expensive. To be honest with you, it doesn't matter if she's rich. The path that she's headed towards, I'm sorry, but I'm telling you, watch. She's going to come on the internet and say she blew all of her money. She's not getting brand deals like she used to. She has no money.
Yeah, Tophia recognizes that
couch surfing from one place to another. End up having to go back home to live with her mom. This is not matching. This is what
Tophia recognizes here, that no amount of income can fix a spending problem, but isn't self-aware enough to realize
these influencers, content creators do. They go through all their money buying this stuff because they got the money, and they think, oh, they're always going to come into these brand deals, and then when they don't, they're screwed.
So funny.
One influencer did that. She bought $10,000 bags. She was blowing her money, and then she said, no, I don't have no money.
Sorry about that. I had to cough. Didn't want it on the camera, so I paused it. And I'm packing a little bolski. But Tophia here, just for the record, this started with someone telling her to get a job, I think, or maybe that's where this rant started. But now we're suddenly talking about a totally different creator who clearly makes way more money than Tophia if she was paying. And I don't even know if Tophia is right about this or not, because Tophia not only lies about so much, but she's so inaccurate about so many things. Like she's so stupid, and not just stupid, but she lacks so much knowledge in so many categories that I find it hard to believe. But let's just say that's true. If there's a creator paying 10 grand a month for rent in LA, like they're clearly making way more money than you, Tophia. I mean, just on average, if they're able to make that payment a month, that's $120,000 a year, take home. So, what are we talking about here, lady? That's not even the same ballpark as you. Not even the same stadium. Not even the same city. Not even the same sport.
It's expensive stuff. People need to learn how to manage their money, right? Me?
You guys, people. See, this is why I keep pausing, because it's just like, I have to emphasize it. People need to learn to manage their money well. That's Tophia telling people that. So again, this started with people telling her to get a job because she has no money. And she was agreeing with that to the point where she admitted she couldn't afford a tank of gas. But now suddenly she's ranting about the spending of another creator. And Santoki talks about this all the time, or at least in her videos it gets mentioned all the time, how she's always talking about pocket watching, which Tophia does all the time. Again, Tophia is the biggest projectionist in the world. If she was born 10 years earlier, she would have had a job as one in a movie theater. If she got a job, she would have been a projectionist. But, like...
I had a dad that thought I was Bank of America, so anytime he got this $10,000 bags, she was blowing her money, and then she said, no, I don't have no money, because you threw it at all this expensive stuff. People need to learn how to manage their money, right?
Yeah.
Me, I had a dad that thought I was...
Like, it's unbelievable. So
Bank of America, so anytime he got this business idea in his eyes, or he saw me as Bank of America, what would he do? Ask me for money and tell me, can you pay for this website?
She talks about this all the time, how her family saw her as Bank of America. I think that's probably totally bullshit. Or maybe not. Her parents are so bad with money, they might have asked her for money. But it's not like she had money to give them. Like, if she had any money, she either got it from some bullshit or from them in the first place. The only one that really had any sort of income coming in was her brother. So if anyone was looked at as a bank, it was him. I mean, in fact, he was the one paying for their whole car and that whole situation and everything like that. So yeah, like, once again, Tophia,
website, so I can start this business in this...
Sorry, this one's not as funny as the other. I have to do the previous video still. That was one of the 2 minutes in, I had been laughing harder than I have been in a while. This one, again, I'm sorry. This is my first time doing commentary on here, so I keep pausing and stuff. I'm worried you won't be able to hear it, or I'll cut something important off. But it's just so great. Like, there's just so much here, and I'm not even addressing all of it. It's just so much. It's so amazing.
This website would be like $400, mind you. Most of my money went to bills because I had to pay to keep the internet on when I had internet, right? That's literally where my money went, actually. To bills. Otherwise, that's...
What bills, Tophia? Keeping the internet on in your phone? I know you talk about your parents, and this is so funny. She talks about how her parents know a lot about real estate and mortgages and stuff because they rented to own at one point. But it's like, there's no way you were paying that for them. There's no way. You were paying, like, I don't know, probably streaming bills. Like, for whatever streaming services you had your phone, and maybe the family internet, if you were the one using it all the time. Maybe no one else wanted, I don't know, who knows? Or maybe that was just the one bill they asked you to help with. Like, hey, we don't have a lot of income coming in here. If you could just pay this one bill, that'd be helpful. Maybe that was it. And she's even still complaining about that. So... Again, I'm sorry, guys. I'm probably going to have to cut this off here because this video will be way too long. And for my first time commentary, I want people to actually watch it. But this is amazing. I love this. I love it. I need to get better at doing this, like, vocal with Select Cat and Santoki. I'm sure that's just experience on their part. I'm decent at public speaking, but I've never done a commentary over a video like this. I need to figure out a better way to do it.
That's where most of it went. It was... I don't know, it's not financial abuse because that is someone who has money that abuses you, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, that was my dad. And to be honest with you, all the money that I made, because I made over like 20K something like that, I could have bought a car. But it went to bills. I made $3,000 the year I was living, or that year I was living in the car when I was homeless. The same car we were living in.
She always brings this up. Sorry, taking a little toke there. She always brings that up. Wow, you made $3,000 in a year, Tophia. That's crazy. Again, even at my civil service job, I don't quite make that a month, but she's talking about over a whole year. In a month, I make about, well, if it was before taxes and stuff, it'd be $3,000 or so. If it was before taxes and my health insurance and all that stuff, and I have an FSA, I take out pre-tax. If all that stuff wasn't there, I'd be making a little bit more than $3,000 a month. But my take home after all that's a little bit less. But she's talking about $3,000 over an entire year. So, that's insanity. $3,000 over an entire year, just for the record, is $250 a month. $250 a month. For reference, when I used to get food stamps, when I worked at the deli, it was $212 a month. So,
and I was trying to get an RV, but people wanted $5,000 for an RV. They wanted $15,000, and some of them wanted $2,000, but they were scams. There was so much RV scams, it's not even crazy. It's not even funny. I'm going to tell you.
Tophia doesn't realize that RVs, because they're not just cars, are more expensive than cars. Of course, she doesn't realize that.
Hey, I'm back, guys. Anyways, to me, it's just so crazy. Imagine sitting here and judging someone and being a Christian. If you're Christian, you're not.
What? Imagine sitting here and judging someone and being a Christian? What? Okay, well, that was just assuming your entire audience are all Christians and that they're all judging you, too.
Supposed to judge, right? So why are you judging? You know what I mean?
Oh, if you're a Christian now? So then what does it have to... what if you're not? What if no one that's watching you is a Christian? What?
Sorry, guys, I left and then now I'm back.
Tophia likes... I just want to address this quickly because she's probably said it a million times. Tophia likes to say you a lot. She likes to start, like someone will say something to her, like, get a job. And then she'll be like, and then you all don't care when, there's women being abused out there. And then you all don't care about systemic racism. And then you all don't care about this. And it's like, dude, who is you? Who's this you you're talking to? If you think that that's your entire audience are all these evil people, why are you broadcasting to them, or even interacting with them? That's wild. If you believe that that's the case, that's wild. But otherwise, who is you? She uses this you that evolves every time she uses it. It evolves from the one specific person she's talking to everyone. Everyone except for her. It's. All of a sudden she'll be talking about something and she'll be like, and let's talk about you and your ancestors and what they were doing. It's like, first of all, who's you? And never mind the ancestor part. Who is the you you're talking to?
That's why, because I left the app. So it's just crazy. I didn't throw a cat against the wall. That was my brother's ex. That was my brother's ex did that to her ex Wilbur. No, I didn't. That was my brother's ex Wilbur. Her ex Wilbur, she did that to his cat. You can ask Space Kitten. Space Kitten will tell you. But I didn't abuse a cat. And if you want to talk about,
I grew up with cats, and if I'd hold one, I tossed it a couple inches onto the bed. But you threw that cat, Tophia. Don't even front. Come on, you didn't just throw it onto the bed. I mean, you know what? We wouldn't know because you got that stupid green screen on. But I did not look like you threw that cat, an inch or two onto the bed like I used to with my gigantic cat, who I loved more than any other animal. And we saw you throw that cat, Tophia. Tophia is almost like she uses the same playbook of the people she claims to hate, which are right-wing Republicans and stuff like that, and just white people in general, who say stuff is fake news and don't believe what your eyes and ears tell you. It's like, Tophia, we saw you do it. You film your entire life. That's why we know all this stuff. It's not because people discover all of it because they're private detectives following you all the time. You post it all on the internet.
Animal abuse. Then why don't you ask my brother's ex why she got a cat she couldn't take care of? Ask her that, because that was her cat.
Just whataboutism. What about my brother's girlfriend? Who the fuck cares? Are you even talking to this lady anymore? What does it matter? Your brother is gone, so do you still have a relationship with this lady? What about it? Okay, if I was talking to her, I'd say that's bad too to neglect a cat or treat it poorly. That doesn't mean you didn't. She likes to try and engage in that whataboutism all the time to imply that it means that she either didn't do something or that someone did something so much worse than her that you shouldn't care about what she did. But two people can do bad things, Tophia. Just because one person does something worse doesn't mean that the other person's bad thing isn't bad.
That was not ours. So I don't know why I was taking care of a cat that was not even mine. I had my dog Hershey. So why do I have to take care of another pet that I knew, right?
One of the funniest things I've ever heard, by the way, I know I keep pausing. It's just so much to say with Tophia. One of the funniest things I've ever heard is I watched some of those Aunt Karen compilations that Tophia Archive and everyone did. And there was the one where they were taking calls and stuff. And this like kind of flamboyantly speaking guy, another person had said it before him, a woman. But the guy came on and like, towards the end, one of the last things he was saying, he's like, and we all know what you did to that dog, Tophia. You set that dog up, okay? You set that dog up to get got. And it was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Someone saying that Tophia set up a dog. Like,
I wouldn't get another pet knowing the situation I'm at. You had your cat in a motel with a dog. Mind you, that is, my dog's never been around other dogs or other pets. And that's why I was not good with other animals. My dog, whenever she would get all those other dogs, would become attached to other dogs and would become friends. Let me tell you something. My dog can be trained to be with other animals. Because whenever she would get all these dogs and we would have to take care of them, she would run around with the dogs, start playing with them, and start, at first, she has to get used to them for a while, and I would feel bad because these would be...
I had a friend who was a vet. He loved animals. He had a pit rot mix. It was the sweetest dog I've ever known. It licked everyone. It was the nicest animal that's ever lived, and it would have loved if there was a cat there. Actually, there was a cat there. I used to play with it, and the cat was the one that was always kind of, it's kind of like, get away from me, dog. I don't know, I'm getting off topic now because, cats and dogs are more interesting. And then Tophia talking about this dog I used to know.
Be her buddies, and then they would get... And I wish I would have had that picture. It was Mocha. I forget the dog's name. It was a brown tan puppy, and it was Hershey's dog bed. And we had it out for the dog to sleep in it, and Hershey and the dog were sleeping together, and I was like, aw. So I took a picture, and so I didn't said I let my dog get tear gassed. What are you talking about? You know what happened, since you must know because we didn't have a choice. My dad closed the door on the police. So the police called and said, are you all right? And I said, we're okay. I thought that was the end of it. I was laying down. Then they tell me, well, we need to see that you're okay, so you leave with your brother.
Excuse me, good. Sorry about that, guys. I like to pause that when I can.
When he goes to work. My brother was getting ready for work, mind you, while he was barricading himself in the apartment. My brother didn't have no choice. He still had to he had to leave for work, and my dad had just shut the door on the police.
Interesting how your brother has to go to work no matter what, even when your house is getting raided by the police and pepper sprayed and your dad's having a breakdown, but you don't have to.
We were having a whole situation, and my brother still had to go to work. He had work. There was nothing he could do. So then they told us that we had to leave when he left for work, and it was last minute because my brother was already going out the door. And we didn't. I left in my pajamas, mind you. I didn't have no clothes. I didn't plan to pack anything. I left my credit card there. I left my ID, all of my important valuables. The only thing I took with me was.
Notice how she mentions credit card, ID, and then important valuables because she doesn't have any important valuables. It's just a bunch of plastic. It's really just a bunch of crap. The important valuables to her, like phone and a tablet or whatever, like whatever is like expensive that would cost her a lot of money to replace. It's not anything else besides that. Like her valuable stuff is like, electronics that you could probably get for like $40 at like a used refurbished sale or something like that, Like she just talked about the only two things that really mattered, her credit card. And the only reason the credit card matters is because her debit card's empty, but the credit card will still let her charge things, because the way credit works is that they lend you money even if you don't have it, expecting you to pay it back later. I wonder how much... So, Chris Chan and his mother and most lolcows end up in huge amounts of massive credit card debt. I wonder if it's, like, not even possible for Tophia because she doesn't really have one or have any credit to establish, and, like, they won't even, like, credit one won't even give her credit cards. Because otherwise, like, there's no way, like, that she doesn't owe credit card money, right? Like if she has a credit card, that shit is maxed out. There's no way that she hasn't spent every dollar.
My phone, I didn't even have a charger, mind you.
Curious
it wasn't
about
planned.
that.
My
If
brother
she's,
was
like,
already out the door, and they're
maxed
telling us
out
we had to leave with him.
multiple
I had to
credit cards,
follow
like,
the
what
police
deal
orders.
is it? Or maybe
So
they
I
don't
left.
even offer
We were
her
under the impression we were going to go
security.
back into our
Like-
apartment when they let us in. We were under the impression we were going to be let back in. But then they said, no, you got to find a place to go. Do you have family members? And we were like, no. So then they're trying to find us a hotel, motel, which they found one. But then he said, you had to pay for a room. And I'm like, well, I can't. My credit card's in there. Because he's barricaded, they couldn't let us back in. They said, well, technically we can't let you back in because he could do something, could happen. And then he tells me, you're not leaving. And then if I go back in there, then I won't be able to be let out. And then I'm in there. It's that whole thing. So I had to be careful. And then, so that whole thing happened. So then because of that, I couldn't go back in there. And then they waited till we left because they said, oh, we told them not to raid the place because we said we can't have that. We'll get kicked out. They raided the place. They literally busted our doors down. They damaged our whole apartment. They did all of that. And people don't understand because I shouldn't have to explain things. I had to follow the police orders and it was last minute. Mind you, Anna was in there also in the closet. My dad didn't know because he does not like rodent. And my brother got and I was like, why would you? But that's my brother's choice, right? He took care of his, it was a gerbil or hamster. I can't remember. I don't know if you guys remember Anna. I held her one time on live. But anyways, it was that whole thing of I'm trying to hang on as I can. But when something happens, and it's all these things, and I'm like, well, why do I want to exist in a world where nothing good is happening? And I don't really do anything. And social media just loves to applaud themselves and slap themselves on the back whenever they caught.
Tophia, are you joking me? Social media loves to applaud and pat themselves on the back when they do
someone problems, and they think it's all fun and games. How would you?
Like, are you kidding me? It's so funny because sometimes she'll like say the thing that is self-aware, but it doesn't compute for her. She gets it for someone else, but not for her. It's amazing.
I think I'm just better. I ruined your friendships and then laughed about it, right? You wouldn't like it if you faced the same torment I did everywhere you go and people caused you to be isolated. That's not funny, right? I'm trying to do the best that I can, but sometimes I think I'm just better off being with my brother and you wouldn't harm.
And for the record, I don't agree with anyone who harasses Tophia or calls the shelter or tries to find out where she is. I've left comments on multiple videos. If you do that and you try and harass her, or you try and make her life worse, or you try and harass people who work at a shelter who already have a hard enough job and already don't want Tophia there, you're a gigantic turbo loser. Anyone doing that stuff, you're a loser. You're just as big a loser as her, as a matter of fact. So live with that crap. The stuff she's talking about right now, yeah, it is wrong. People doxing her, people calling the places that she's at. I don't agree with any of that shit. That shit is super evil. It means you have nothing better to do with your time. And it means you're just a petty, disgusting person who would stoop as low as to make someone whose life is already in the toilet by their own hand and whose life is actively getting worse by their own hand, that you would even want to interfere in that in any way and not just continue watching the train wreck as it is, but that you would interfere and like call them and like try and get more stuff done to her. Nothing any troll or any person, nothing that anyone else does to Tophia can be worse than what Tophia does to herself. And calling the shelters and stuff and complaining about her, you're just making the life of those shelter workers harder. And again, as someone who used to spend some time around them, they don't want her there. They're very aware of what she does. They don't want her there. That's why she's gotten kicked out of so many of them. It's not because of these people, these weirdos who call and try and get her kicked out. It's because they don't want her there. Okay? The workers don't want her there because they see her literally just laying around all day doing nothing. Whereas there's a certain faction of people in those places who are busting their ass every day, either saving up every penny, like those $8 Tophia talked about earlier. You save up $8 every day over a month, Tophia. That adds up to $240, and that's just $8 a day. Sorry, $8 a day for a month. Yeah, $240. So that's not nothing. That's at least your phone bill and storage, I would imagine. So it's not nothing to save that money. And
myself, my mom.
Excuse me. Sorry, hang on. I'm about to cough again. And the other people at the shelter, the ones that I used to hang out with, the ones that use drugs and stuff, the ones smoking crack in the bathroom, smoking crack out front and shooting up fentanyl in the bathroom. The shelter workers have a hard enough time dealing with those people, okay? Tophia, even though they don't want her there, is relatively low maintenance compared to those people, or the alcoholics, which there's quite a lot of those. I mean, this one lady that used to get in my car, God, she used to piss me off so bad. I didn't even want her to come, but she used to come with this guy that I used to score with, and he would just invite her along, and it's like, okay, whatever, dude. And, like, she was a drunk, and she would, like, be drinking in my car and shit, like an open bottle in the back seat, and I don't fuck with that at all like that. I don't drink and drive or any of that. And then one time, even she, like, left an empty bottle, like, under my seats. Like, thanks, lady. If I got pulled over, I would have got arrested. Yeah, the cops really would have believed me, right? But the point I'm trying to get at is you're a turbo loser if you call any of these places, if you call her jobs and try and get her fired or whatever. Like, the fun is in watching how she destroys herself, not watching how all you losers destroy it by just doing the same stupid weird thing, by making the same stupid weird phone calls. Sorry, this is my rant against people who do stuff like that, because I think it's disgusting and despicable and just like such loser behavior that you're essentially as big of a loser as Tophia, which is, man, that must be hard to live with yourself. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. So anyway, anyone who does that, you're a loser. And yeah, that's it. Let's keep going.
Says I'm all she has, and she worries about me, and I don't want her to worry because she has high blood pressure. But sometimes she freaks out, and people don't really understand what they do to people's mental. Words hurt, and to tell people, well, you didn't care. I didn't plan. If I would have planned that, my dog would have not been there. We were under the impression we could go back into our apartment. They were going to get him out. No. So then they left. They took us. They took us to this shelter because we didn't want to go to the west side. We heard the west side was bad. So then they took us to this other shelter they found because this motel room was charging us. They said, we have a room.
Beggars can be choosers. They're literally saying, ew, we don't like this shelter. Take us somewhere else.
But you have to pay for it. And they were like, well, you can't help them. No, they got to pay. I didn't have my credit card. It was in there. I was not expecting to go stay at a shelter for as long as we did because we couldn't go back in.
By the way, again, I keep pausing, but this is why I have something called an emergency fund with 5 figures in it, because if there's ever an emergency, I don't need to use a credit card. I don't need to put anything on credit. I don't need to do anything at 30% interest. I don't have to worry about it. I can take the cash out and then replace it as soon as I'm able to. That's what financial stability. Tophia talks all the time about, I just want to be financially stable. I just want to have a house. Well, that's financial stability, Tophia. Having savings to cover you when emergencies happen so you don't have to put things on credit at huge rates of interest and stuff like that. But that's Tophia's emergency fund here. When something happened that she didn't plan for, and I was just kind of joking, like, obviously you can't plan for, well, I mean, maybe you can because she lowered his doses, and obviously, like, they argue that, oh, we had to lower his doses, the hospital over-medicated him, but clearly when you lowered his dose, he went crazy, and the cops had to come and pepper spray the room and everything. So yeah, I don't really think you guys knew what you were doing with his dose at all. And again, this is someone who's almost got a minor pharmacology and stuff from using and from medications I've taken myself for a variety of things. So
because of the tear gas, and then my brother said, well, we have to clean up and we have to wait for the tear gas to clear. You guys can't come back. Finally, my mom said, enough. I'm fed up. You need to come get us. We can't be here anymore. I was in my clothes for I don't know how many days until we were lucky enough to get some clothes from the shelter. I was in my pajamas.
Once again, no emergency money, no nothing. Nothing, not a pot to piss in, not $1. They had to wait to get donated clothes. They had to stay in pepper spray clothes for several days because they didn't have a fucking $5 bill to go buy a t-shirt from Goodwill.
I literally was in the same clothes. I had these Mario pajamas because I didn't have time to just go grab my clothes. You know what I mean? I didn't have time to plan anything. So for people to say, well, you left, I would have never left my dog to get tear gas had I known. I didn't even know we were being tear gassed. How am I supposed to know? I wasn't there when they raided our apartment. We left and then they raided our apartment. They waited till we left because they knew we was not going to allow that. That's why they waited till we left, because the wonderful police.
Just FYI, it's not like you get to allow them or not allow them to do it.
Never.
It's not like you could stop them.
What was, and this is why we were wrongfully evicted, because they tried to say, oh, well, you were tear gassed, you were raided, and you never told us. My brother went to the office and told them. They said, well, if you clean up your apartment, we can go in there and fix what's broken. Our door was broken open. We could not lock our door. We slept with our door unlocked because we couldn't lock it until my brother's friend came and put a wood across. He nailed something, made something so he could put a wood across the door so we can have it blocked because it wouldn't lock. And my dad got used to using that.
That's all they asked you to do.
Because my dad finally came back to the apartment before he got taken again because he evaded going to court. That's what it was. And we didn't know. He said, I'm not going to court. And my mom couldn't force him. When he's sick on his bipolar, he says, he's not going to do something. There's nothing we can do about it, right? I said, well, just let him. They're going to come take him, so he's going to get taken whether he wants to or not. They took him.
And they stayed in the pepper spray room until they got evicted and all the utilities got turned off, and then they finally got evicted.
And he got used to that board across the door because he couldn't have let anyone in. Mind you, the office never fixed that. They left it broken open. Mind you, they never cleaned the apartment either. Tear gas sticks, and tear gas sticks. If you don't...
Okay, Tophia just said, like, not even 90 seconds ago, because I paused it, that the front office said, if you guys clean it because it's your fault, essentially, you got tear gassed. I mean... you can blame it on your dad or whatever, but he's there as either as a guest of you guys or because he's on the lease. So him getting tear gas there is not the apartment's fault. It's your fault. Like, if my apartment got tear gas because I, threatened people out through my window and, I wouldn't leave and they tear gassed me, like, it wouldn't be the responsibility of my apartment super to clean my room for me. Like, it contradicts what she said earlier in that they said, if you clean it, we'll do this, and now she's saying, oh, they didn't even clean it, but you said that they asked you to clean it. So just another one of Tophia's lies. She's a borderline pathological liar. I think sometimes she lies even when she doesn't need to. I don't know. Again, I think it's just because she's a borderline. She might be a pathological liar. I'm not sure. I think she actually is. Never mind.
Don't deep clean the apartment, it's going to stay stuck like that. Whoever lives there, for how many years they're living there now, they probably have upper respiratory problems. So someone's going to get sick. We called a place. I said,
Tophia, do you think that after they evicted you and went into that disaster of an apartment that you left them, because we all saw what it looked like. I mean, that was gross. Like, I'm not that neat of a person. I'm lucky the people I live with are. But I'm not that neat of a person, and even my place does not look like that, lady. I mean, I got papers and stuff all over, but that was wild. And you don't think that they cleaned that after you left? You don't think that they're the ones that paid for the deep spray? I swear to God, these people probably would have sued you if they thought you had a pot to piss in and any money to take from you. I'm surprised they didn't at least try and get you on Judge Judy or something to pay for it. I mean, and you guys would have made money too, so you would have did it in a second, been on Judge Judy, no matter how much it would have embarrassed you and yourself and how stupid you would have looked. Like, you definitely would have did it. It's also more attention on you. God, oh my God, thinking about this, Tophiachu on Judge Judy fighting her previous landlords because her apartment, like, this, just think about this. Just think about this in your mind, you guys, that Tophiachu is the defendant and the apartment or owners or landlords or whatever are the plaintiffs, and it says plaintiffs are suing a defendant for non-payment of rent and for cleaning fees after tenants caused apartment to be tear gassed when one of them had a mental breakdown. Defendant is countersuing for everything ever because it's Tophia. And then Tophia and them go up, and Judge Judy starts being Judge Judy, and she just Judge Judy's the shit out of Tophia and, like, makes her look so stupid on national TV. That'd be amazing. And Tophia would still love it too because she's on national TV and they would pay them. So
they would do it for free, and they said they would deep clean our apartment. Then they told us that the office denied them. They said we got denied by the office. They told us no. So to literally sit here and then say I left my dog to get tear gas is crazy, because I would have never left my dog. I didn't have a choice. I had to rush because my brother was in a hurry. He had to go to work. I couldn't tell him wait because we were under the impression that they were going to just get him out like they've done before. They've been able to talk him into going in and getting help. And mind you, this all started because he threatened the guy that was giving his shots. That's literally what it was. We didn't know. We were under the impression the guy was supposed to show up to give him a shot. My mom's like, I wonder why he hasn't shown up. That's why, because he got a threat and then he just didn't show up. That's literally what happened. Well, you can say I'm an animal abuser all you want, but I'm not. I know what I am, and I'm definitely not an animal abuser. And if that's the case, then why did you take in her pets? You know what? I would love for you, whenever Angie gets a pet that she can't have.
Yeah, why didn't you? Again, this goes back to that you I was talking about earlier, where she just says you. Is she talking to the person that said it in the chat? Is she referring to you as like a specific person, or just saying you as in all of you? And if she's saying all of you, like everyone who watches her, so like everyone who watches her, she's aware is a bad person, because she uses you all the time, and she's never clear as who she's referring to. Sometimes she'll say like, oh, like she'll say like another creator's name or something, but then she'll keep saying you, and she's obviously talking more broadly about other creators that do the same thing. And it's just like she's never clear about who she's talking about. It's just always you. Who is you, Tophia? Who is you?
have, which I don't know why she has. I don't know if she still has that puppy that with her fiance years ago that she got. Why don't you take in her pets? I should have gave you all of her pets.
Why don't you take in her pets? Is she talking about that person? Is she talking about the person in the chat? Like, why didn't the person in the chat take in the pets? Because they don't know them or where they are or any, like, what?
And then you figure out what to do with them, right? Because why is this girl getting all these animals? She knows her parents didn't let her have her cats in the first place. She got kicked out because she wasn't taking care of her cat.
Oh, wait, right? So she's talking about
that's why she was living with us, because she couldn't have her cats because she wasn't taking care of them.
When she says you don't understand.
So what in her right mind made her think to get more pets that she wasn't going to take care of, that we ended up having to take in, and then later on help finding homes for these pets because we couldn't take care of the pets? Because
let me rewind that for a second.
So what in her right mind made her think to get more pets that she wasn't going to take care of, that we ended up having to take in? And then later on help finding homes for these pets because we couldn't take care of the pets.
So it seems like they could have skipped a step there and just either, or even you could have skipped a step by just finding them places without taking. Do you know what I mean? There's a step in there that could have been skipped.
Because we had Hershey. And these are puppies that need to be trained to use the restroom. How are we going to take the dog out to train to use the restroom when we're trying to pack because we're being evicted? And we're on a dead...
To take the dog... How old was the dog by that? There's no way you're going to train the dog that old to finally start going outside. You let it piss and shit all over inside the house. There's no way you're going to all of a sudden train it to start going outside. Like, are you out of your... That's crazy. That's the delusional thing I'm talking about. Not even talking about, like the expecting the free house or anything. All those delusion stuff. That is delusional, Tophia.
Deadline that we have to be out. Be for real. You really don't care about animal abuse, because if you did, you would be saying something to Leslie, whose dog died because they didn't want to take it to the vet because they didn't want to.
More like whataboutism. Like, well, what about all of this person who did all of this animal abuse? Why aren't you dealing and talking to them? And Tophia, it's because we're watching and talking to you, not them. If we were watching and talking to them, and I knew that, I would say the same things about abusing animals to them, that it's bad and wrong and you shouldn't do it. And depending on the severity that they did it, I might even have stronger words than that. But again, it's just whataboutism. That doesn't change what you did.
Died. So they let it suffer because her grandma could not be without the dog. So the grandma let the dog suffer instead of taking it to the vet, because it was better to let the poor dog suffer. That poor dog suffered until its end. All because they did not want to take the dog to the vet because they knew the dog was going to be put down. Is that not crazy? Hershey was my dog.
So the old dog suffered until it died instead of getting put down earlier. So this is I don't know, Pete, and I won't even go into what PETA nuts and their beliefs and stuff, but this is a debatable thing, like whether... This is debatable for humans, right? Whether a human would rather more years that are hard and full of suffering and pain, or whether they would like to go. That's why physician-assisted suicide, or even just legalized self-assisted suicide, is not legal in basically any states yet. I think maybe one. And it's like, it's extremely difficult to even like get it to happen. But this is a question that applies to humans as well as animals. Would the animal and the human rather have extra years to live, but have those years be of lesser quality, or would they rather die sooner without having to go through that? So you can't just assume one thing or the other about that. I just want to point that out.
And I did take care of Hershey, so I don't know what you're talking about. I bought Hershey stuff. Well, Hershey couldn't have that because we realized he got sick with it. But I remember I was so excited because they had doggy ice cream at Walmart, and I was like, well, let's try the doggy ice cream and see if Hershey would like that. The doggy ice cream. So I went and I bought her doggy ice cream for her to try it, but it gave her the runs, so she couldn't have the doggy ice cream.
What a story, Tophia. She couldn't have her dog can't eat doggy ice cream because it gave her the runs.
Sadly. She didn't like anyone because she had aggression. If you don't know anything about Chihuahuas, then I don't know. Chihuahuas are aggressive dogs. And
okay, yes, Chihuahua. I don't know a lot about dogs, actually, because I've never had one, but I do know Chihuahuas are a little bit more aggressive and, I guess, territorial or something. I even have a story when I was younger. My sister and her friend got chased by 2 Chihuahuas in the neighborhood. Kind of funny. They were middle school. To think that there's 2 Chihuahuas chasing 2 middle school-sized girls. But, yeah, they can be, but just like any dog, I mean, you could say the same thing about Pit or Rottweilers. And as I said earlier, the one that I knew is the nicest, sweetest, most loving dog I've ever seen, because the guy who eventually ended up becoming a vet because he loved animals. He worked as a vet tech before it. He loved animals. He trained the dog right. It was perfectly fine around people. It was perfectly fine. I mean, when it was inside the house, it wasn't exactly, it would sit on the, it was a huge dog. It would just climb all over you and stuff. So it wasn't like it was, sitting there, waiting for a command like a police dog. But, it wasn't destroying the house. It wasn't destroying things. It wasn't going to the bathroom everywhere. It wasn't attacking people. I mean, it was a rot pit mix, the two generally most aggressive guard dog types essentially, and it was the nicest dog ever. So you can't just generalize, well, Chihuahuas are aggressive, therefore mine must be. No, if you trained it right, it wouldn't be. It might bark at new people and stuff like that, but it wouldn't be aggressive. It wouldn't try and bite and attack them. So
they love to act like they're big and tough when they're little. Their little dogs they can beat up bigger dogs. And it's not the type of aggression where it's like the difference in aggressions. Let's be for real, right? To say, there was this one video, and it's the video that went viral where the power of Christ compels you to the Chihuahua and he starts growling and being vicious. That's literally the whole thing. That's literally, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's literally, you know what I mean?
It has nothing to do with that. My dog was aggressive, and my dog got more aggressive because they kept sending people to the door. And when you keep sending people to the door, that's what happens. And it wasn't because he attacked me because she didn't like me. He attacked everybody. It wasn't just me. He attacked my mom sometimes. He attacked...
Okay, so now, again, I'm pausing, but if your dog that you own is also attacking you to the point where it's not just playing or nipping, but attacking you, and you're having to discipline it or do something, Tophia probably freaking smack the dog with a yardstick, the nut job that she is. I don't know how the heck she would discipline an animal besides throwing it, as we've seen. But no, your own dog should not be attacking you. That's not
my brother sometimes. He attacked my dad sometimes, and it wasn't and yes, of course, that there were ways to fix that, but when you keep sending people to the door, what do you think is going to happen, right? Caesar Milian could have probably fixed it, but I'm not a dog whisperer. I don't know much about dogs, so I don't really know how to stop a dog in their aggression. Sometimes people just give their dog treats, or sometimes people do things that are not the right way of doing things. Oh, here, you do things that are bad. Let the dog chew cords. Oh, I'll give you this cord to stop you from being aggressive, but then that's teaching them that they can chew the cords, right? You know what I mean? Not to an extent of hitting your dog, but you know what I mean? Things like that. Because when you give your dog too much treats,
not to the extent of hitting your dog, you know what I mean? But she adds that but after, because she probably does mean it. I even said, I just predicted it, less than a minute ago. So
come overweight and they end up diabetic. Here, let me give you a treat, and then
excuse me again. Hang on, I'll pause. Sorry, it's rainy here. I got a little bit, yeah.
Your dog literally is calmed down when you give them a treat, but after the treat, it's that's how dogs are. You try to make every excuse in the book, but
I don't even know
when it comes to people that have Chihuahuas, they know. So was that dog being abused when she put up the cross sign and said the power of the Christ compels you, and the dog started getting vicious and wanted to attack her? Was this little teacup Chihuahua being abused when the owner literally got bit in the ankles by the dog that was a puppy? Dogs are smaller dogs, especially Chihuahuas, are very. That's why.
How is a dog attacking a human abusing the dog?
Some people don't like Chihuahuas, to be honest with you. No, they're not reacting.
This is what I mean when I talk about word salad and pressured speech and all this stuff. She's forcing the words to come out. They don't even make sense. What is she talking about?
To abuse, because Chihuahuas will growl at anything. I literally told her that video where I said, "Give me you rent," and she started growling because I thought it was funny. And even someone because they used to show Musical.ly's on live, and people would be like, "Oh, if you send this or if you do this, I will show your video on live," and they even laughed at it. Yes, no, you don't know anything about Chihuahuas, and you're lying, because I do know, because dogs are reactive only if they're being abused, and if a dog is being abused, some dogs are aggressive depending on abuse. Some dogs are like that one dog that literally was standing. They trained it to stand on its legs, but it literally was in the corner. So this dog literally went to the corner. Was literally hiding in the corner and be all scared. You could tell when someone's being abused, right? You know when dogs are being abused. But that's just crazy to literally say I don't know anything. I know a lot about dogs. You can tell when a dog is being abused versus when a dog isn't being abused. I wouldn't have been able to pick up Hershey at all. Yes, he did kind of attack, but there were some times where I could pick her up and she was okay. She didn't have an issue. I could be around her. I could walk. I used to come home and her would be all excited. Dogs don't wag their tail and get all happy for someone that abuses it. I've never abused my dog. That is so crazy to think. I've had dogs before.
They might if you're.
I even had a pet bird, even though I was terrified of him because he flew at me sometimes. But to be honest, I would never do that to a dog. That doesn't make sense. And some people love to spread misinformation they know nothing about. Then they bring up that photo my dad took the photo, and the dog pads all over the floor. You know why it was like that? Because we didn't only have Hershey. I think that was at the time we had Prince. She had a dog named Prince, and it was a puppy. If you know anything about puppies, they use the bathroom on the floor, and he wasn't using the restroom on the pee pad. We would put him on the pee pad, and he would pee on the floor. We can't have the dog peeing on the floor because in the office we kick the...
Again, I never had a dog. I only had cats. We had a litter box inside, but they were indoor, outdoor cats. They would usually go outside. They would only go inside. Usually, one of them would go inside just because it was a weird cat. The cat was weird. More than it would go outside. But usually they'd only go inside if there was like a storm or something and they couldn't go outside. Or just, even in certain storms that some of them preferred to go outside, depending on how bad it was. But if it was too bad, they wouldn't. But, like we had a litter box and it was in one room in the boiler room in a basement. Like I could not imagine living in an apartment with puppy pads covered in dog urine all over the place. That is so repulsive and repugnant. And again, I'm not a neat, super clean person either. That is disgusting.
This out because we have an animal using the restroom on the floor. Why should we have to train a puppy that we didn't even ask for? She would come home from work.
Gee, I don't know, Tophia, maybe so it doesn't go to the bathroom all over the floor and smell really bad and ruin your apartment and, like, you don't have to smell it and everything. And, like, you're talking about animal abuse before, maybe just to be a good person towards animals, like, and train an animal, like, out of the goodness of your heart. Like, you claim to like animals and love them and care about them and stuff, and you claim to know a lot about dogs, but now you're saying, like, well, why should I have to do it? I don't know, maybe because it's in your possession, and not doing it is teaching the dog that all these other things are okay, and that's almost like, I don't know if I'd say you're abusing it or not, but you're neglecting it. You're definitely neglecting it by not doing that. So, I mean, is that something a good pet owner does? Even if it's not your pet, if somebody, like, I don't know. Anyway.
And she would put the puppy out of the room, right? And she would make us watch the dog. She didn't even watch her dog at all. Did you know that Princess literally got used to us? Princess literally did not want to go with whoever she had to go with, because that's how her dogs got attached. Not to me. They wouldn't even go with her. They would go with me. Sometimes, yes, Princess tried to go with her one time.
And she closed slip. They got attached not to me, but then she says they wouldn't go with her. They'd go with me. Freudian slip, as always. They got attached to someone else. That's just full of crap.
Door on Princess. This was when we were in the motel. We had Princess, and Princess went running to the...
In a motel, they had these dogs going all over the floor. Are you kidding me, Tophia? How do you have no shame about that? Can you guys imagine if you're staying in a hotel and you're in there for whatever reason, long stay hotel, short stay hotel, I don't care if they think, if you're there because you're, borderline homeless or whatever, which, by the way, if you're at that point where you're, like, paying to stay in hotels and stuff, like, don't do it. Like, go find a shelter or something, because those are more money than rent per month, generally speaking. They're taking advantage of people in bad positions, not doing them any favors, unless you're at, like, literal crack palaces, but we could get into that's a totally different subject.
The door, because Princess wanted...
But anyway, sorry, could you imagine renting a hotel room and having two dogs in it? Let's say the hotel's even okay with animals, right? It's okay with animals. And you let the animals in there instead of taking them out to go to the bathroom. Living in this hotel, you still put puppy pads on the floor and you let them piss all over the floor inside of a hotel room you rented. You have no shame when the person comes to clean it? I know why that person must have made that video, that cleaner, that maid, you call her maid, whatever, cleaner, I call her cleaner, whatever you want to call her, someone who cleaned hotel rooms afterwards. You wonder why she put a video up on you? I mean, like, you just, like, that's so gross, Tophia. I don't know how you could have no shame in doing that. I could never do that in a hotel room. Are you kidding me? Leave a hotel room that I let dogs piss all over the floor and probably shit every now and once and then too. Like, that is gross.
Because she came home from work and she closed the door on Princess. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Disgusting.
You want us to watch your dog. You come home from work and we still got to watch your dog. That is crazy, right? And Prince was using the restroom everywhere. That's why we put pee pads where we put them, because we can't have him peeing on the floor. So it wasn't because of her saying, yes, she did pee on the pee pads because she could not go outside and pee. Hershey was a chug. And if you don't know anything about chugs, especially some dogs have disabilities, some dogs have reasons why they can't go out and use the restroom. That's why we had pee pads. Hershey was trained to pee on the pee pads, which what pee pads are for is you train your dog to use them, and then eventually...
Okay, so what pee pads are is you train your dog to use them inside, and that's why they're called puppy pee pads. I worked in a pet store for a year. I sold all this stuff, okay? Don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. It's my least favorite job ever. I hated it. I hated it every single day I was there, but I stocked all this stuff, okay? You get pads either when the dogs are like too old or just can't go outside, or when they're puppies and you're trying to train them to go in like just a specific area instead of wherever they want. And then you're supposed to transition them to going outside. I'm not going to keep going into that because it's a topic. It doesn't really matter. I'm not the most informed on it, but I know what the purpose of them is for. It's not for them to go inside forever. Okay. It's not how that works. It's not. You're supposed to train the dog to, first it thinks it can go wherever you want. Then you get the puppy pad. You teach it to go in one place. Then you slowly, when it starts going, you take it outside instead. There you go.
Eventually, you slowly move the pee pads outside, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So you slowly start taking the pee pads outside so they can learn to use the restroom outside. But from what we learned from Chugs, if she sniffs other dogs' poop or even other dogs, she could get sick. And we would use the restroom outside. We would go take her, she could use the restroom outside. But we had pee pads because she would use the restroom inside because sometimes she couldn't always go outside. And I don't have to explain why my dog always can't go outside to use the restroom. Why do I have to keep over-explaining?
That's what I said. It's for whenever they maybe not be able to go outside for whatever reason, or the dog's too old or whatever, but they are not for, and at that point, actually, there are diapers for animals. Like, there's diapers for, there's a great video of this paralyzed cat. They added this like truck, like wheel back, like a red wagon behind it almost, so it gets to like zip around, and the cat needed diapers because it would go to the bathroom. Same with dogs. They have dog diapers. They have diapers for that stuff, Tophia. So that's not true.
Stuff is so crazy. My mom is not going to die soon, so some of you guys really get mad because it doesn't fit your narrative. And when I explain myself, you get so mad that I explain myself well. It doesn't fit your narrative. That's what you don't like. Because when I show receipts and stuff, then you get mad. So then.
Show receipts, Tophia. You always say that. You never do. You never, ever, 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 ever show receipts. It's one of the most annoying things you say, alongside "clock that 10 toes down" and a few other of your unique sayings that you just love to say over and over and over and over and over and over and over again because you're so clever.
Then when I prove that
you don't ever prove, you don't ever show the receipts, you don't ever prove it, or if you do, it's like an out of context screenshot compared to like the 20-hour video we have of you doing it. I don't understand. You're the one that creates all this evidence, Tophia. I don't film you and put it on the internet. You film you and put it on the internet. And yeah, maybe some weirdos film you in public or whatever, but they do it for like 10 seconds just while they're walking by. You literally make this video's by Tophia Archive, shout out once again to them, is 45 minutes long, or just under it. They must have condensed this down from like 2 to 3 hours of streaming. So what are you talking about, lady? You're blasting an eighth of your life, if not more, out on the internet every day. And then, a bunch of those hours are sleeping. So however many of your...
What you guys say is not true. Why does that make you mad? If I'm not a predator, if I'm not all of this, and I've shown proof, then why are you so mad at the fact that I proved it's not true? Because it doesn't fit your narrative. That's why people get mad. How is it making up excuses if I've showed receipts? That doesn't make any sense. You do know that there are people that have dogs with disabilities that can't go out and use the restroom. That's why they use...
I just talked about that, but they don't have If a dog is depending on the disability, but if you're talking about like a dog that has no control of its bowels, you don't have a puppy pad for it because it won't make it to it. You have a diaper for it.
Dog pads? You do know that, right? It's so crazy to say, that's an excuse. How is that an excuse when people actually have dogs that have to use the restroom inside? It doesn't make any sense. That is far from an excuse. If it was your favorite content creator and their dog was disabled and they had to go use the restroom inside because they had a disability, you wouldn't be saying animal abuse, and you wouldn't be saying that's an excuse. You know that, right? You would just be okay with it. Let's be for real. Some of you guys are just literally finding any reason to complain.
Because if what you're saying is true and they have totally no control over their bowels, they won't even make it to the puppy pads.
You guys say, well, what did you say about Mexicans? Then you bring up something else. Bruh, what about Mexicans? And then what are you going to do?
No, Tophia, you're the one that does this and suddenly changes topics. Now all of a sudden we're talking about Mexicans. What? We were just talking about dogs.
Oh, then what about... No one said my dog was disabled. I just explained about Chugs. They cannot smell other dogs' contaminated poop. And I said when we took my dog outside, my dog did use the restroom, but we also had pee pads for my dog to go on the pee pads because she knew where to go to the restroom. Hello? She couldn't always go outside. I don't know how many times I had to explain it. Jesus Christ. Oh, something's going on. Someone's running, it looked like, but maybe they were running to go back inside, but I left because there was some guy. He was swinging like this metal thing, and I was like, ooh, that's kind of scary. It's my PTSD. It's better to be safe than sorry. He had no shirt on, and he was just like, you gotta be careful. But you know what I mean? It's things like that. People just literally sit here and then they'll bring up something else. I'm not going to sit here and keep defending myself and keep explaining myself. Enough is enough. I was sitting there and then I saw that. I guess I better go home. I had too much going on. I'm not going to let TikTok controller take my life anymore.
I'm just going to pause there for that. Tophia has too much going on and she will no longer let TikTok control her life. The main reason she's probably saying that is because they're not paying her anymore, but it will still control her life. Social media will still control her life. Santoki said it best. She'll just move on to Instagram or some other platform she hasn't been banned off of yet and go on there and potentially until she's banned off that. This lady's going to end up on Truth Social eventually. She'll get banned from every other platform, and then they'll ban her because she'll be one of the few people on there that doesn't want to be on there complaining about it the whole time. So, it's going to be really funny.
Take over my life, you know what I mean?
Red Santoki
Not take my life, but control my life. I'm taking back my life. You know what I mean? Sorry, it froze. I was just taking it off the tripod. But it's just so crazy to me. You find something else. If you don't complain about one thing, then you'll find something else to complain about. And it's just hella crazy. Do you ever get bored? Do you ever get tired? It's weird. Because then, not only that, you just find something else, and then you move on to something else. But they will. I already know that. No one brought them up, but I know that's what they're going to bring up. I'm not dumb. They bring up animal abuse and they say, oh, well, didn't you say this about Mexicans? And then they say, oh, well.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, what? Said animal abuse, and then you said this about Mexicans? Whoa. Where? Like, again, these leaps in logic are very, very interesting. Animal abuse to racism.
And then they bring up something else. And then next thing, then they're like, oh, well, didn't you say this? And then it's just like a recycled, rehashed thing. They do that. That's a good one. I never thought of going to get a job. I don't know. That's a good one. I never thought of That's a good one. I never thought of going to get a job. I don't know. I guess I don't really have.
Lost my time. Fuck.
That's why he hasn't shown up. That's why, because he got because it doesn't fit your narrative. That's why people get mad. How is it making up excuses if I showed receipts? That doesn't make any sense. You do know that there are people that have dogs with disabilities that can't go out and use the restroom. That's why they use dog pads. You do know that, right? It's so crazy to say they're a content creator and their dog was disabled. Some of you guys are just literally finding any reason to complain. And then what? You guys say, well, what did you say about Mexicans? They kidnapped. She could be like this metal thing, and I was like, ooh, that's kind of scary. It's my PTSD. It's better to be safe than sorry. He had no shirt on and he was just like, you gotta be careful. But you know what I mean? It's things like that. People just literally sit here and then they'll bring up something else. I'm not gonna sit here and keep defending myself and keep explaining myself. Enough is enough. I was sitting there and then I saw.
That's where I paused it. Tophia is not gonna sit there and keep explaining herself. Enough is enough. She's not gonna keep doing that, you guys. She's not. She said right there she's not gonna keep doing it. So
I guess I better go home.
Oh wait, of course you will.
Too much going on. I'm not gonna let TikTok controller take my life anymore.
Oh yeah, and this part too. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Of course you will. You are addicted to the internet. Not just the internet, you're addicted to social media. I'm addicted to YouTube, I will admit that, but I watch like learning content on here too. I'll watch like math courses and stuff like that, programming and stuff, on top of entertainment like this. But I don't have an Instagram. I don't have a TikTok. That's why I'm so grateful for you guys like Tophia Archive and Heinz Bugs and all you guys who put it together, because I don't have TikTok. I don't have Instagram. I don't have any social media besides YouTube and a Facebook with like 20 friends on it, and it's not even my real name. I made it because of my wife. And otherwise, I deleted my real one a long time ago. I'm not about all that social media stuff. This chick is addicted to it and addicted to the attention from it, even if it's negative attention. She is addicted to that dopamine hit of it, like that dopamine hit of getting like attention paid to her. And she is so addicted to it that and she's admitted this before, but she's basically like, someone for people to go online and mock. And like she has accepted that as her role. She's basically the court jester. So
take over my life, you know what I mean? Not take my life, but control my life. I'm taking back my life. You know what I mean? Sorry, it froze. I was just taking it off the tripod. But it's just so crazy to me. You find something else. If you don't complain about one thing, then you'll find something else to complain about.
Again, I have to pause. The lack of self-awareness is amazing. If Tophia can't complain about one thing, she finds something. That's why I joke about her being a projectionist. If she was born 10 years earlier, she could have been one in the theaters. Like Brad Pitt in Fight Club.
And it's just hella crazy. Do you ever get bored? Do you ever get tired? It's weird. Because then, not only that, you just find something else, and then you move on to something else. But they will. I already know that. No one brought them up, but I know that's what they're going to bring up. I'm not dumb. They bring up animal abuse, and they say, oh, well, didn't you say this about Mexicans? And then they say, oh, well.
Once again, what?
And then they bring up something else.
What?
And then next thing, then they're like, oh, well, didn't you say this? And then it's just like a recycled, rehashed thing. They do that all the time. You know what I mean? If it's not one thing, it's another. The whole truck incident, right? Let's talk about the truck incident. That was their intent. Imagine if I did that. Let's put me in that position. Let's say I saw a pedestrian crossing the street, and I sped up. I just said, let me mash the gas, knowing that I see a pedestrian crossing the street. And I hit that pedestrian, right? And the cops come, and I say, well, it's not my fault. I didn't see them, but I clearly saw them. And I clearly hit my gas because I saw them. That was their intent. I don't care if people are like, well, they're not from social media. So maybe they might have not been from social media, but their intent was to kill me. It does not make sense. You're using your car as a weapon. If you're trying to hit someone with your car, are you trying to hit them because you want them to live?
What is she talking about? Someone tried to hit her with a car?
That makes sense. You're not trying to hit someone with your car because you want them to live. To sit here and try to gaslight me is crazy. All I did was try to cross the street. I had the right of way. It said I could cross. Yes, they can turn as well too, but they saw me crossing the street and they proceeded to mash their gas pedal, right? They mashed the gas and literally turned quickly. Their intent was to hit me. Then they sped off. They didn't even stop to see if I was okay, because if that wasn't their intent.
Well, did they hit you? If they didn't hit you, why would they stop to see if you're okay? It sounds like they didn't hit you. So it sounds like they kind of just accelerated and either didn't see you or just went completely around you. And by the way, I actually almost got hit by a car a couple weeks ago at my job. I parked in the parking lot, and a lot of parents go into the staff parking lot to drop their kids off, even though they're not supposed to, because they can loop back out. And this lady was letting her kid out and not looking straight at all, and her car was not in park, and it was drifting forward. I thought, she would eventually look forward, and the car is maybe like half an inch from hitting me, and I literally threw myself out of the way, and she stopped her car and like rolled down her window, and I just like looked at her and left. I should have let her hit me. That would have been crazy, because she was moving so slowly where it, maybe would have hurt, because it's a car, even if it's going, like less than 5 miles an hour, it's a lot of energy still hitting you from the weight alone. But man, I really wish I had let her hit me at my job. That would have been crazy, like a crazy lawsuit. But I'm not someone like Tophia who searches for lawsuits and talks all the time about suing people. I don't believe in suing people over accidents. I believe doing it over neglect and intentional fraud and stuff like that. I don't believe accidents should be lawsuits, but Tophia does.
They would have stopped and said, are you okay? We're sorry. We didn't see you. I was not in all black either. I had a pink shirt on. You can't tell me that you didn't see me because I was not in all black. Weirdos.
Did they hit you?
To literally try to gaslight me and tell me that what I said is not true, that I'm reaching. If I did that to someone, y'all wouldn't be sitting here saying that. You would be saying that my intent was to hit that person. If it was me, let's be all the way for real. That was their intent, and they sped off. If it wasn't, they would have literally, and I even threw up my arms. You can't mean to tell me they wasn't looking back. Hello, they would have stopped and said, are you okay?
Okay, generally when I see someone, and sometimes I get a little bit of road rage, because in New York, I swear to God, everyone here is the worst driver in the world. I don't care what state you live in, New York and Massachusetts, because I live there, have the worst drivers in the world, or in the United States, not in the world. I've gone overseas a lot, definitely not the world. I'm about to go overseas again, to a big city over in Southeast Asia, but where the traffic's even worse than around here. But the drivers nowadays are horrible, and I think it's much more likely the simple answer of it being a big driver. And also, if you see someone behind you do that, you generally aren't going to stop, because it means they want to start a confrontation. Like when I do that to someone from behind them, it's not because I'm looking to say hello to them and check on how they're doing. So
no, that's weird. No, I cannot fight against a car. That does not make sense. How am I going to protect myself against a car?
You're not.
A literal whole car. Hit. If a car's coming at you as fast as that truck was, there's no way. Not even with a weapon.
Jump out of the way. Like
a license to carry. If you just started pewing at the car, maybe they'll get scared. But the thing is, for me, because I can't carry anyways. Where I'm at, I can't have that. And also because I don't want to carry a gun anyways. But that was the whole intent. That was literally the intent. And to tell me it wasn't is crazy. Imagine trying to ram me with your truck. That is insane.
Okay, but if they were trying to ram you with their truck, wouldn't they have then turned around and came back to try and finish it? This makes no sense. It's just her trying to be victim, like act like a victim again. Oh, woe is me! Like I almost got hit by a truck. Like they didn't even check on me. Well, they didn't hit you, so why would they stop? You gave them a sort of like what the fuck look in their rearview mirror if they even saw you, which they might not have because they didn't hit you. So why would they be looking to check on you? And now you're like acting like this is just bizarre. Like, what are you talking about?
Because I don't want to carry a gun anyways. But that was the whole intent. That was literally the intent. And to tell me it wasn't as crazy.
What would
Imagine trying to ram me with
done? Like how? What you're gonna pull out your gun as they're speeding at you, and within the half of a second that they accelerate, pull out your gun and shoot them in the head so that they can still not hit you? I mean, if you kill the driver, he actually might hit you at that point. So whatever.
your truck.
This makes
That is
sense.
insane.
This is a lie.
How am I going to fight myself against the truck? That's a truck.
Or
especially at the speed that it was coming at. And I'm supposed to be cool, calm, and collected. No, I got PTSD. Why do you like to re-trigger people and cause people trauma? And then tell them they're not supposed to freak out. Oh, why are you freaking?
Hey, Tophia, I got bad mental health problems. I'm bipolar too, but my life's been great for a while, especially when I take my medication. Just saying.
Someone. If I would have said that to her, you would have come at me. You wouldn't have been defending that. That to me is so weird. I could have reported that to her local police. And if she thinks she's getting away with that, she's not, because I'm still going to take action. That's weird. And imagine, you are Team Karina, Ava, so that means you're a Trump supporter and a pedophile defender. You do know she's a Trump supporter, right?
See, this is where she makes those huge jumps.
To her local police. And if she thinks she's getting away with that, she's not, because I'm still going to take action. That's weird. And imagine, you are Team Karina, Ava, so that means you're a Trump supporter and a pedophile defender. You do know.
You're on Team Karina, so you're a pedophile defender and a Trump supporter. I don't even know who Team Karina is. So.
She's a Trump supporter, right? She's lying. She voted for Trump. She said that she was educated on Trump, and that's what made her not vote for Trump. That's a lie. You're a grown adult. You see what Trump has done. You don't need anyone to tell you how bad Trump is. You've seen it.
What? But you just said you just said in that same sentence within 2 words that she did not vote for him. So what? Or did she vote for him? Did she just misspeak? This is why Tophia is so fun and so crazy and just so all over the place. Like, you never know what she's actually trying to say, because that doesn't make any sense from any angle.
She voted for Trump. She lied. She's a liar. I don't know why my comments are not loading. Probably because people are spamming. How do you know? You can search this up on TikTok. It's on TikTok. All the proof is there. She's a transphobic person.
How would you even know who she voted for? It's private unless you publicly reveal it. Did she take a selfie of her ballot? Like, that's one of the. I mean, they're trying to get rid of it. That's a sacred institution of the voting of being, of franchisement, of being able to vote, is the secrecy of the ballot. Otherwise, we get what is happening right now, where you start weaponizing our government entities against political enemies, which is not what you want your government to do.
On Twitter, mind you, she took down her Twitter account. Did you know that? Because she got caught. That's why she deactivated her account. Not because she said she wanted to, but because she got caught. Sure. If you literally go look it up, you can find it. I literally posted it on my page because it says list of people to unfollow that are Trump supporters, and in the list it says Karuna Santori. She's on the list of people to unfollow that is Trump supporters. Yep. There's so much stuff on her. There's even a whole Reddit page that people said she's a horrible person. She's a racist, by the way. She's racist, she's transphobic, and she's a Trump supporter. And if you don't believe me, you can go look it up yourself. I gotta get going. Anyways, guys, have a good day.
Don't forget to subscribe for more videos.
Okay, anyway, that's the end of my first. Of course, it's starting out when I press cancel. That's the end of my first Tophia stream. I hope you guys watched it and enjoyed some of it. It was not as funny as the other one was going to be. That other one was, I could not believe how hard I was laughing 2 minutes in. I even made a timestamp for it. I'm going to have to do that one too. But I just want to try that. I just really wanted to give this a try. And especially because I was influenced by you guys, really Santoki and Vocal, the Slug Cat, and Heinz Bugs, even though they don't do any commentary. I've never done something like this before, and in the past couple of years I learned kind of what the lol cows were, kind of when the Christian thing happened, and then I learned about other ones. But I'd known about people like DSP and Wings. I just didn't know that they were lol cows until recently, and I watched their stuff. There's some good channels on them, like for Wings, King Banquet, and DSB. Snort Hogan, I'll give some shout outs. There's one other for him, I can't remember, but like they're funny, but they're just boring at this point. They're just begging for money, or they're just sitting there doing nothing, like literally nothing. And Tophia is sitting there doing nothing, but the things that she says and does and her delusions, and she'll literally contradict herself like 2 words later. It's just, I don't want to do the cliche chef's kiss, but I mean, that's kind of what it's like. And she's just an absolute train wreck, Tophia. She's just an absolute disaster.
Fix this, and then it's really
She's
close.
the most interesting disaster to watch. It's just fun to watch her because you never know what's going to come out of her mouth. And again, I've said this on a few channels. I've left this comment. She will 1000% end up under a bridge. And the reason for this, and the reason I know it, is because right now, Tophia is currently in like the last homeless shelter after getting kicked out of other homeless shelters, right? So she essentially has nowhere to go after this. Again, one of the reasons I think she's talking about buying a car so that she could live in the car, even though she can't drive it and pay for gas or anything. At least she would have somewhere to sleep when she inevitably gets kicked out of the shelter. And the reason I say that it's inevitable is because, first of all, as I said, none of the shelter people working there really want her there. They don't appreciate lazy people like that. They even appreciate the people. Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough about the internal interactions to say this, but I feel like they even like appreciate the people using more than the people like her who are just. She just does nothing. I mean, she literally lays there and turns on a live stream. She doesn't do anything. She's like a Jabba the Hutt. She just sits in one place, not doing anything but eating and talking. I mean, everyone else does everything, and she just gets to sit and lounge there. And the residents don't want her there because the ones that are using and stuff like that, she is blowing up their spot, okay? If you're trying to shoot up fentanyl in the bathroom or smoke crack out front, you do not want this chick filming there. And when she's talked about having problems filming outside and stuff before, I don't think it's always just because of the shelter. I definitely think sometimes it's because of the other residents, and they do not want her to be filming what they're doing. So, yeah, I mean, and then the people that are there that are actually trying to get their life together and get jobs and actually fell on hard times but want to recover, they don't want to be around her because her hygiene. Well, no one wants to be around her because her hygiene is terrible. That right there is enough to make everyone in a shelter hate you. But they don't want to be around her because, again, they're the opposite of what she's the opposite of them. They're struggling and trying to get out of the location they're in. She is doing the opposite. She's working less and less and less every day, bringing in less and less and less. Now she's demonetized and has no income, essentially. And she's going lower and lower and lower. And the fact that she's already proven that she would rather be homeless than get a job, the logical conclusion to that is she will end up under a bridge, because when there's no more shelters, she'll be under a bridge. And because she's proven that she would rather live like a complete and total degenerate than get a job, this is complete degeneracy. I mean, when you're using like dope and stuff like that, it's more complete hedonism. It's not. It's degenerate behavior, sure, but this is like degeneracy to me. Just laying there and doing nothing, expecting like everything to be given to you. I never have expected anything to be given to me when I was using, or now that I've been clean for a long time and work a job and save all my money, and I have a bunch of savings for me and my wife to start a family. Like, and I did it on a small government salary, like a state government salary, I just love Tophia. She's the most interesting log cow. She's the most interesting train wreck. The rest of them are boring. And again, shout out to all you guys who do the Tophia vids, Vocals, Slugcat, Toki, Sam Toki, I believe. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I'm forgetting it right now. Tophia Archive, Heinzbug. All you guys, Tophia Archive, especially shout out for this video because I'm literally doing commentary over her video. And she said she'd watch it, so I'm gonna link her if I can. I'm gonna tell them. I hope you guys watch it. I hope I was funny or like added something at least. Again, this one wasn't as funny because she didn't really say very much funny stuff in this one. This was mostly just her complaining and being negative, which can be funny, but it's more funny when she starts going on crazy rants like right off the bat about like complete nonsense, which the video before was wild. How the first 2 minutes were, again, the chef's kiss would be appropriate there. So anyway, thanks for watching. This is K-Mac. I don't know what my YouTube name says right now because it always seems to be changing, but my name's K-Mac, and my voice has been a little off. It's usually, as you guys can hear, I've been coughing. It's usually a little bit deeper like this, but anyway, yeah, that's it. Tophia's crazy, and this was something. I'm glad I did this for once. Wow, this is 2 hours. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's gonna watch this. Shit. So anyway, I just realized how long this is. Yeah. Thanks for watching. If you did, thanks for watching even part of it. It's amazing. I wish I don't know. I guess I need to get better at this, like just talking while she's talking and not pausing so much. But anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks. I'll try uploading this. Maybe I'll get like 3 views. Maybe the 3 channels that said they'd watch it would watch it. So